For you, what's it like? Last year, at the end of the season, you kind of run out of running backs to all of a sudden have a loaded room. What's it like to work with a group like that?
Yeah, I mean, anytime we can take the field, man, it's a lot of fun. And this group of guys, they've been doing a really good job each and every day. Just meetings, walkthroughs, the focus. I mean, it's been there, and they're having a lot of fun doing it and working together doing it. So
for sure. And I guess since spring started, what has Kai kind of brought to the group so far?
Yeah, I mean, Kai has really good vision. He's a cerebral kid. He understands what's going on. He asks questions out on the field. He can think through plays and see defenses, on a different level. So he pushes a lot of guys in the room, in that way. He's continuing to do a lot of good things. Just like all of them. They're all striving to find little weaknesses that they may need to work on, and if somebody's better at something, they're talking each other through, they're teaching each other through. So it's a lot of fun as a coach to see those guys interact in that way.
And I'm curious, with Daniel, obviously produced really early and then had the injury last year. I guess, what have you kind of seen from him going back to the spring and kind of through the first little bit of fall camp?
Yeah, as he's gotten more reps, he's gotten more comfortable. And Daniel is a really explosive kid. Just seeing him run the football, he brings that explosiveness to the backfield. And the more, like I said, the more reps that he gets, the better. And that's what we want to do a good job of, is managing those guys' reps, so that way we can see them all, as we go through fall camp. So.
How do you foresee being able to use so many guys, right? There's only so many snaps, so many opportunities, but so many talented players are going to want to carry the ball. How do you get them all happy and feeling content?
Yeah, I guess at the end of the day, it's about who's the most consistent, right? As a runner, as a pass blocker, as a route runner, you have to bring that consistency every single day. And that's the beauty of having a stacked room. Is those if somebody's not doing it, somebody else is. And so whoever's the most consistent guys, whoever's the most reliable guys, those are going to be the guys getting the reps. And it's not a secret. That's something that's really important in having a room like this, is the communication aspect from us as coaches, is making sure that we communicate properly to these guys.
Not being super familiar with, especially the guys who are coming in, how do you contrast maybe their styles of run, how they approach the game, and the way that they take the field?
Yeah, I mean, they're all still very young. There's a lot that they're still learning. They're going to continue to learn. So me as a teacher have to do a really good job of meeting them where they are and bringing them all up to the same level. So yeah, they're on different levels in terms of understanding in certain plays. Like Devin's been here for going on 2 years now, and so in terms of knowing what's going on, he has a little bit better understanding. But Devin does a good job in making sure that when we're in walkthroughs or we're in meetings, he does a good job of as a leader of pushing those guys and sharing more information and tidbits, and so they do a good job of working with each other. But in terms of run styles, I would say that, all of them bring a little bit something different to the table. Like I mentioned earlier, Daniel's really, really explosive. He's a powerful kid. Kai has really good change of direction. Savion is a slasher. Devin is a bruiser. But he still has the ability to change direction in tight spaces. Torrey Lachlan, has a lot of different abilities in terms of catching the ball out of the backfield, doing speed sweeps. So there's an element that a lot of those guys that they push each other with. They do a good job of understanding just where they are, but also what they need to continue to improve on.
For an outside zone scheme like this, how much does a full kind of off-season cycle help the running backs? Is it important? Is it not as important as some might think? Like, how do you or how important is that kind of full cycle?
I mean, it's all very important, and understanding what we're doing up front with creating distortion, right? Our backs have to do a really good job of maintaining their tracks, understanding where vertical seams are opening, but also too setting up those second level blocks. And the more reps those guys get, the better they're going to get at it. And we're being very strategic and very intentional about how many reps they're all getting when they're doing it, because we don't want to have an imbalance, right? As we go through fall camp, of one guy getting so many more outside zone reps than another guy. We want to make sure we're able to evaluate all of them properly, so that way we can have that information of, hey, who's the most consistent at doing it, so we have the best guys in.
What do you envision Torrey's role being?
He's a multiple guy. You know, he's in our room right now. He's a very smart guy. He's doing a lot of really good things for us right now. You know, and so his role is going to continue to evolve. You saw him get splashes of things last year, and really when that package started to open up, he got hurt. You know, which was very unfortunate for us as a team. You know, but as he continues to grow and he's even gotten bigger as a player, it's only going to continue to get bigger for him. So he's doing some really good things. Really proud of how he's been able to manage and fight back, you know, and get into things. So
does he seem back to 100% to you?
I would say so.
Up at Buffalo, Lance and the guys, Northeast football, you have to run the ball. Can you guys succeed playing that style of play in this conference?
I think at the end of the day, for us being a really good offense, we have to be consistent in everything that we do. You know, and that's a big piece of it, is us running the football, you know, and us being on the same page. So us as teachers, we have to do a really good job, you know, in making sure that we're efficient with our time with our guys and getting them what they need to be able to succeed. You know, but it's not to outweigh, you know, the other pieces that are important as well. You know, we're going to continue to do that, you know, for our guys.
What's the latest in Savion? Sorry, he wasn't out there today participating.
Yeah, I mean, you know, Savion is just, he needed a little bit of rest, and we got him that, and we're going to get him back rolling here soon.
When he has such a, I wouldn't say limited role like he did last season, but kind of, I think that's probably fair. How can you really evaluate what he can bring to the table when you don't get a chance to really see him on film throughout the whole transfer process?
Yeah, so I think at the end of the day, and to answer that question, you know, we had him here in the spring, you know, so we were able to evaluate him there, and we got a lot of really good information there. We got some information from him in the summertime as well. You know, in the film room, just I like to get those guys up in front and have them teach me the plays, right? Have them teach the other running backs the plays, so that I can gain their level of understanding of where they are with everything, and that gives those guys confidence, you know, as they do that more. And we want to make sure that we continue to do that as teachers, is give those guys those opportunities to show that, hey, I do know what's going on, and if I don't, I'm not afraid to ask. I think that's one element that's really important as well as a player, is asking for help and not assuming that you know what's going on.
When Daniel was out last year, how much film work and kind of the behind-the-scenes prep did you see him invest in? Was he particularly taking note of things, even though he couldn't be out in the field? Yeah, that's a standard that we have for all of our guys. You know, but at the same time, Daniel did a really good job. You know, he was out there with a script for every practice. You know, he was going around to all of the walkthroughs. He was going around to all of the team periods, even in Indy, as if he was taking the reps, and they're starting to pay off for him because he's gotten caught up really fast with everything. So kudos to him for the work that he's put in the offseason.
Is Torrey doing anything similar, or because he was hurt during the year, sort of rehabbing and not involved as much as maybe Daniel would have been in that way?
Yeah, I mean, as we were able to get Torrey out there, yeah, I mean, again, the standard's the standard in terms of that. You know, guys, if our trainers are saying that he can be out in practice, they're going to be out in practice. They're going to have a script. They're going to walk around and watch and see everything that's going on, so that way they can continue to grow as players.
Not necessarily a fall camp question, but with such a good running back room that's so young, is it harder to recruit high school talent, you know, when they see that, you know, Kai, Savion, Devin, all 3 years to play? Is it challenging to recruit?
I wouldn't say that it's challenging, because, you know, every kid that I talk to, at least, they enjoy competition. You know, and there may be some that don't enjoy competition as much, but they understand what they're getting themselves into. You know, from that standpoint, those kids want to be able to learn from those guys. You know, if they see a kid having success and multiple guys having success, they want to go and be a part of that. You know, and so that's what we're building here. You know, now I'm not saying every kid is that way, but I mean, we definitely have something that's going to be special in that realm.
And what do you look for in the running backs? It seems like a lot of the guys here are physical, one-cut type of players, but what do you kind of look for on the recruiting trail when you're projecting forward?
Yeah, sure. I mean, there's a lot that goes into it for me. You know, there's three things that I like to look for. That's the ability to make somebody miss, right? the ability to run on contact, right? And then if you have speed to be able to outrun guys, it's just icing on the cake. You know, I start from there, and then I branch out, and you know, and within those phone calls and when we get guys on campus, I like to get them in the film room. I want them to teach me, you know, just looking at what we do, can you teach me how you guys do it at your place? You know, and that way I can get the level of understanding of what the young man knows, right? So that way I have a better understanding as a teacher of how I need to teach him and approach him. You know, and then the characteristics and you know, the respect level and all those things that I find from high school coaches, people in the community, those are important things. You know, we want to bring quality young men into this program. You know, and if a kid needs help in a certain area, we're going to get him we have the resources. We're going to get him the help that he needs to be able to help him along to be able to develop as a young man, but also as a player.
We've asked a lot of the guys who come in here how they've handled the adjustment from year 1 to year 2 and the differences. From your standpoint, especially working with these guys now for another opportunity, another year, how do you feel? How much more comfortable do you feel teaching what everybody wants to do and getting familiar with the schemes?
Yeah, I mean, the more time you spend in it, you know, the better understanding that you have, just like you're saying. You know, but also too, as a teacher, you know, I'm able to be creative in the classroom with PowerPoints, with videos, with NFL clips, anything that I can do to help bring that picture to them and make it more simple. That's what we want to do, and that's what we want to accomplish for those guys. You know, and so in the off-season prep, there's been times where I've gathered things, you know, for in season, right, that I want to have for those guys to make things more smooth and more efficient for their time, because we get limited, right? We get very, very limited once we get in season with what we're doing. So time is very valuable. We want to make sure we're as efficient as possible, you know, with our guys.
Hey, Jonathan, with such a deep group, is there a point in fall camp where you say, all right, I got to start getting my too deep here, or I got to start figuring out who my guys that are going to get the majority of carries in week 1? Tell me about that.
Yeah, I mean, it's a process. You know, here we are, we're in our, what we would say is our second week. You know, and in terms of what we're trying to find, like, we've had spring to evaluate. The beauty of our situation, let me just start there. In the spring, we had it, every back that's out there for us was there in the spring, right? And so we were able to have the summer with them, and now we're in fall camp. We're seeing who is able to carry over that, you know, the information, right? Those reps, who's been working. It's really starting to come to light, you know. And when you're in fall camp, and I was thinking about this last night, is when you're in fall camp, you see the guys that are consistent in everything that they do, and that's just not what they do on the field. It's also recovery. It's how they take care of their bodies, right? And now you're able to see that show up on a daily basis. You get to see, all right, when it's really hot, okay, outside, who's pushing through, who's got the mental toughness to be able to push. Like, those things just naturally come about. So as we progress, you know, the cream rises to the top, okay? And as we get closer, yes, there is a point where we say, hey, this is what we know this guy can do right now. Now, that doesn't say that for us as coaches that we don't spend more time to help that kid grow there, right? We're gonna still do that for them, okay? But this guy's doing a better job at that, and us being able to find roles for guys. That's how they find their roles. Hey, what is his strengths? What is his weaknesses? And that's one of my objectives going into this fall camp, is see what those are, and let's get our best guys on the field to be able to execute in those roles.
One more.
And then with you guys last year went to a wide zone scheme, was your first year. Now you're going into the second time. Do you feel like the backs and the linemen are all starting to figure it out a little better?
Oh yeah, continuity matters. Okay, and that's in everything. That's from us as coaches, right? That's with the players, and that's us with the players. You know, I'm really, really excited about what our offensive line is doing and what Coach Fluks is doing with those guys, and you know, the players are feeling it and they're seeing it.
Thanks, everyone.